William Thaw was bemused by the incredible racial, ethnic, national, linguistic, and occupational diversity of his new companions, approximately 1,200 of them in all. But he gleaned something else from the human flotsam and jetsam described by King that had washed up in Rouen ahead of the German tide. Thaw wrote at the time, "I am going to take a part, however small, in the greatest and probably last war in history, which has apparently developed into a fight of civilization against barbarism. That last reason may sound a bit grand and dramatic, but you would quite agree if you could hear the tales of French, Belgian, and English soldiers who have come back here from the front." The stories Thaw and his comrades heard about the conduct of the German army on its march through Belgium and into France could move even the most jaded. Certainly, rumor and exaggeration played some part in magnifying the nature and scope of the atrocities, but the sheer volume of reports could not be denied. Perhaps the best-known act of barbarism, both then and now, was the sack of the Belgian town of Louvain. The city was burned, and hundreds of civilians were lined up and shot, in revenge for the actions of francs-tireurs along the route that had taken the German army through the town on its way to Brussels. Francs-tireurs was the name given to Belgian guerrilla fighters that used the civilian population as a shield from behind which to strike at the invaders. There is debate over the scale and intensity of francs-tireurs activity in August 1914, but the German High Command had made up its mind how to deal with this anticipated threat in advance: collective responsibility for German deaths. This meant murdering innocent civilians to cow the population into cooperating. Louvain's famous library and university, founded in 1426, was left in ashes as well. But what occurred a few days before the burning of Louvain in the nearby town of Dinant was even worse. As historian Barbara Tuchman relates in her book The Guns of August, they, the town's residents, were kept in the main square until evening, then lined up, women on one side, men opposite, in 2 rows, one kneeling in front of the other. 2 firing squads marched to the center of the square, faced either way, and fired till no more of the targets stood upright. 612 bodies were identified and buried, including Félix Vivet, aged 3 weeks. For those that claim all this was simply Allied propaganda, it was, the most effective kind. That doesn't mean these atrocities did not happen. In Tuchman's time, cemeteries in towns and villages throughout Belgium were full of row after row of headstones bearing the date 1914 and the inscription, "Fusillé par les Allemands," shot by the Germans. They still do. Clearly, Rouen in its current state was no place to train recruits. It was too close to the fighting. The military recognized the inadvisability of continuing with the original plan for the foreigners and re-embarked them for a long journey to the south, far away from the front, to the Péverillon barracks at Toulouse. This was where the Americans and their multinational comrades in arms would be initiated into the life of the légionnaire. The French Foreign Legion, a unique institution composed of foreign volunteers serving under French officers, had initially been founded in 1831 to help subdue Algeria for France. The fact that the soldiers had no ties to France made it far easier for politicians to send them abroad to do the dirty work of the empire. This famed unit already enjoyed a certain roguish mystique by the time the war in Europe broke out. By way of example, in one instance in 1863, 65 légionnaires held off 2,000 Mexican soldiers for over 10 hours at the Battle of Cameroon. The last 5 surviving defenders mounted a bayonet charge when their ammunition ran out. This gritty reputation, however, should not be confused with the glamorous luster of later depictions of the Légion in the 1939 film Beau Geste, for instance. In 1914, légionnaire was seen as a hard lot, men running from something, perverts, deserters, thugs, and worse. The discipline was severe, the conditions often harsh. No one with better options